I've found that leaders are most challenged with prioritizing time, focus, and budget on the right things. It's difficult because they treat almost everything with the same priority in isolation, so nothing gets solved. But if they took a cross-functional view, like a non-siloed view, then they could sort of stack rank their priorities and act as a holistic exercise. The other major challenge I see is the velocity of the challenges or the dynamic nature of them, because priorities are always changing. Think about the situation we're in today. What we thought our priorities were yesterday have drastically changed for us today, and they may again tomorrow. So this is what a normal business environment is. It just takes these large events to make us realize that these are changing all the time. I also think that most businesses are interested in understanding whether they are operating in a safe environment. Remember, we're talking about security operations, so it really is about operating securely. And it is more and more critical that the leaders know that not only they're conducting business, but they're conducting business safely for their own employees and business, but also for the products and services that they offer to their clients. Therefore, they need a level of reporting that'll handle that different level of stakeholders throughout there, because it can be becoming overwhelming. So focus is really number one challenge. Risk is discussed in a context of impact and likelihood, or said differently, if something bad were to happen, how would it affect the business and the people? And then what are the probabilities of becoming real? And that's the business context. So this is not a new language. This is language that's been used for some time in the risk industry. It could be as simple as picking a timeline. If something was missed and something bad were to happen, like catastrophic as loss of life, and of course, everything in between. And then the other thing to remember is it's rare that just one bad thing will happen or one risk would be realized, which is why there are usually multiple risks that are identified. Now, when we talk about digital transformation, it becomes even more critical that we have an accurate, transparent, thorough view of what we have and do. And this lets people have a full understanding of not just the business, but the technology and the processes that they require to support the delivery of those services products. So it has to start with the data and the information management systems in first, because if that's in place, then you can have an effective vulnerability risk program that is mapped to that business context. So you can prioritize properly, back to your first question, so that cyber threats can be dealt with quickly, and that there wouldn't be material harm. So proactively, if organizations were set these up and put in these mitigating controls first, then their cyber risk program would be very successful. I think the thing that they're doing differently is that they're, again, applying focus, and they're applying focus on a smaller number of objectives, and they're going to make the most progress towards those goals. Those that take on the mega programs without that approach, and without breaking it into smaller initiatives or manageable chunks, if you will, they're doomed to failure or not to realize those values. And I think we've seen a lot of those. The biggest difference I see between doing it successfully could be attributing to measuring those things that we think are critical to the business and applying the right levels of governance. So I think many organizations try and outsmart. They try and overthink what industry's already figured out. By simply doing those simple, basic things, measuring those things and adjusting those things, first of all, your expenditures are a lot lower because you're going back to basics. An example might be to start off with your vendors that you do business with. They have access to your internal network, to maybe some of your systems, or at least the people you have within your organization, whether they're working on an essential service or not. Now, because of the way the threat actors are changing the way that they are attacking businesses, is that those supply chain people or services now become the focus of these new threat vectors. So being able to measure it, being able to adjust it, it's critical.